Your dog pressed their body against your leg this morning. You probably smiled, maybe scratched their ears, and went about your day. But what if that moment meant something far deeper than affection? What if your dog was showing you they're not just content, but genuinely happy in a way most dogs never experience? Subscribe to the channel because the 7 behaviors we're about to reveal don't just signal a good day for your dog. They signal a life well lived, a bond well built, and a happiness so complete that behavioral scientists can measure it in their biology. Number 1. The morning stretch that reveals everything. Watch your dog when they first wake up. A truly happy dog doesn't just stand and shake. They stretch with their entire body. Front legs extended forward, chest low to the ground, rear end high in the air, holding the position for several seconds while their mouth opens in what looks remarkably like a yawn. This isn't about loosening muscles. Research from canine behavioral institutes shows this specific stretch, called a play bow when held and combined with relaxed facial muscles, releases tension from the parasympathetic nervous system, the part of your dog's biology that only activates when they feel completely safe. Studies on cortisol levels in dogs demonstrate that animals living in chronic stress skip this morning ritual entirely. Their bodies move from sleep to vigilance without pause, muscles tight, always ready for threat. Your dog's luxurious stretch tells you their nervous system trusts their environment so completely that they can afford those vulnerable seconds of full body extension. When your dog stretches like they're trying to touch both ends of the room, they're not preparing for the day. They're celebrating the fact that they get to wake up here, with you, in a space where nothing bad is going to happen. That's not routine. That's proof of something most dog owners spend years trying to build. Number 2. The food dance nobody understands. Your dog bounces when you reach for their food bowl. Most owners see excitement about eating, maybe even poor manners that need correction. But watch closer. A happy dog doesn't just wait for food with a wagging tail. They perform a specific sequence. They bounce on their front paws, spin in tight circles, sometimes vocalize with small whines or barks. And here's the critical part. They look back at you repeatedly during this dance. Behavioral scientists studying canine emotional expression have found this pre-feeding ritual only appears in dogs whose dopamine and oxytocin systems are functioning in healthy ranges. Dogs living with fear or anxiety approach their food bowls with what researchers call resource-guarding vigilance. Even when no threat exists, they eat quickly, they position their bodies defensively, they rarely make eye contact with their owners during feeding. Your dog's food dance isn't about hunger. It's a celebration ritual, something ethologists have traced back to pack behaviors in wild canids where successful hunts triggered group excitement displays that strengthened social bonds. When your dog spins and bounces before eating, they're including you in their joy, treating the moment like a shared victory rather than a solitary necessity. They're not just happy to eat. They're happy to eat with you watching. Happy to be fed by you. Happy that this moment of vulnerability happens in your presence. That distinction changes everything about what their bouncing actually means. Number 3. The soft eyes that most people miss. Look at your dog's eyes when they're resting near you. Forget the myths about direct staring. A genuinely happy dog makes brief eye contact with you, then looks away with their eyelids slightly lowered, the muscles around their eyes completely relaxed, sometimes even squinting gently in what researchers call soft eyes. Studies published in behavioral endocrinology journals found that this specific eye expression correlates with elevated oxytocin levels in both dogs and their owners, creating a feedback loop that strengthens attachment. Dogs under chronic stress maintain what behaviorists call hard eyes, where the muscles around the eye socket stay tense, the whites of the eyes show more prominently, and the gaze either avoids or fixes rather than flows. Your dog's soft eyes require a nervous system calm enough to let those tiny facial muscles release, and that only happens when the brain isn't processing threat. Wild canids never developed this soft eye expression. It emerged through domestication, specifically through thousands of years of dogs learning to communicate trust and contentment to humans through facial expressions we could read. When your dog looks at you and their whole face softens, when their eyes get that gentle, almost sleepy quality even though they're fully awake, they're using a biological signal that exists solely to tell you they're at peace. You can't train this. You can't force those muscles to relax through commands. This expression only appears when happiness runs deep enough to change how your dog's face holds itself in your presence. Number 4. The belly exposure you've been misreading. Your dog rolls onto their back and exposes their stomach. You've been told this is submission or a request for belly rubs, but research from canine cognition labs reveals something far more profound. A happy dog presents their belly in a specific context. When they're already relaxed, when no conflict exists, when their tail has that loose, easy wag, and critically, when their legs stay soft rather than stiff. This is vulnerability as communication. Dogs have roughly 220 million scent receptors concentrated in their nose, but their ventral side, that soft underbelly, contains nerve endings dense enough that any threat to that area triggers immediate defensive responses. Studies tracking cortisol and stress markers show that dogs only expose this area when their threat assessment systems have completely stood down. Pack structure research shows that subordinate dogs bare their bellies during conflict to prevent aggression. But your dog at home, rolling over while you watch television, presents their belly as an offering of complete trust. They're telling you something profound about how safe they feel. The difference lies in the surrounding behavior. A fear-based belly exposure involves tension, a tucked tail, sometimes urination. A happiness-based belly exposure involves play signals, relaxed muscles, eye contact that invites rather than avoids. When your dog flops over and shows you their most vulnerable anatomy while their face stays soft and their tail keeps wagging, they're not asking for anything. They're showing you that every defense system in their biology has decided you represent zero threat. That's not submission. That's the physical manifestation of complete security. Number 5. The quiet check-in that proves everything. Your dog gets up from their resting spot, walks over to where you're sitting, maybe touches their nose to your hand or leg, then returns to their original position. This happens multiple times throughout the day, and you probably barely notice it. But canine behavioral studies on attachment patterns reveal this check-in behavior as one of the clearest markers of secure bonding and emotional well-being. Researchers call these social referencing loops. A happy dog maintains what ethologists describe as an elastic tether to their owner, where they feel confident enough to rest separately, but compelled to periodically confirm your presence and availability. Dogs experiencing anxiety either cannot leave their owner's immediate space, or they disconnect entirely, treating the owner as part of the furniture rather than as a secure base. Studies measuring heart rate variability in dogs show that these brief check-ins actually regulate their nervous system, creating small spikes in oxytocin that sustain feelings of connection across hours. Your dog isn't checking if you're still there because they're worried you'll disappear. They're checking because the act of confirming your presence feels good, the same way humans feel better after hugging someone they love. This behavior emerged from wolf-pack dynamics, where pack members maintained group cohesion through regular contact, but it transformed in domestic dogs into something more nuanced. Your dog walks over, gets close enough to catch your scent or feel your touch, then walks away satisfied. They're not asking for anything, not signaling a need. They're tending to the relationship like someone watering a plant. Small, regular maintenance that keeps something important alive. When your dog does this several times a day without obvious motivation, they're showing you that staying connected to you is inherently rewarding. Number 6. The deep sleep position nobody talks about. Watch where and how your dog sleeps during the day. A truly happy dog sleeps in what researchers call the side sprawl position, lying on their side with legs extended, sometimes even the upward legs twitching during dreams. They're breathing deep and regular, their body completely slack. Studies on canine sleep architecture show that dogs need to feel extraordinarily safe to enter REM sleep in exposed positions. Dogs under stress sleep in tight curls, protecting their vital organs, or in sphinx position with their head up, ready to respond to threat. The biological stakes here are significant. REM sleep is when your dog's brain processes experiences, consolidates learning, and regulates emotional systems. Research published in veterinary neuroscience journals found that dogs deprived of quality REM sleep show increased anxiety behaviors and decreased cognitive function. Your dog, sleeping sprawled on their side, legs akimbo, sometimes even on their back with legs in the air, is performing trust at the neurological level. Their brain is literally deciding that rest and recovery matter more than vigilance. Even more telling is where they choose to sleep. Happy dogs often sleep in the middle of rooms, in doorways, anywhere that maximizes their exposure, rather than choosing hidden corners or sheltered spots. They position themselves in your path because proximity to you feels more valuable than strategic positioning for self-protection. When your dog sleeps so deeply that you can see their paws twitching, their eyes moving under closed lids, their body jerking slightly with dream movements. And they do this in full view in the center of your living space. They're giving you visible proof that their threat detection systems have completely powered down. That level of vulnerability doesn't come from obedience or training. It comes from a happiness so complete their biology can afford to completely disconnect from defensive vigilance. Number 7. The invitation to play that changes everything. Your dog brings you a toy, drops it at your feet, then steps back and drops into a play bow with their front end down, rear end up, tail wagging, sometimes adding a small bark or playful growl. You might think this is just energy or boredom, but research from canine cognitive development studies reveals this as the most sophisticated emotional behavior on this list. A happy dog initiates play not because they need physical exercise, but because they want shared joy. Studies tracking oxytocin, dopamine, and serotonin during play sessions show that the neurochemical reward your dog experiences comes primarily from the social engagement, not from the physical activity itself. Dogs who play alone with toys show moderate dopamine increases. Dogs who play with their owners show elevated levels of multiple bonding hormones that sustain for hours after play ends. What makes this behavior remarkable is the invitation structure. Your dog performs a play bow, a universal canine signal that means, everything I'm about to do is friendly, then waits for your response. They're not just releasing energy. They're proposing a shared experience and giving you the choice to accept. Behaviorists studying play patterns found that dogs only issue these invitations to individuals they trust and value. Subordinate dogs don't invite dominant pack members to play. Anxious dogs don't initiate play sequences. But your dog, the one who brings you the rope toy or the tennis ball and drops into that unmistakable bow position, is doing something profound. They're saying that being happy isn't enough. They want you to be part of their happiness. They're creating opportunities for connection, not because they need something from you, but because joy shared with you feels better than joy experienced alone. That's not entertainment. That's your dog building relationship deliberately, choosing to spend their happiness in your presence rather than anywhere else. When play becomes an invitation rather than a solitary activity, you're watching a dog who doesn't just feel good. You're watching a dog who wants you to feel good too. 7 behaviors. Each one optional, each one appearing only when biology and emotion align in specific ways that can't be faked or forced. Your dog stretched this morning because their nervous system felt safe enough to be vulnerable. They danced before eating because you transformed a survival moment into celebration. They gave you soft eyes because trust changed their face. They showed you their belly because every defense system stood down. They checked in throughout the day because staying connected felt inherently good. They slept sprawled in the middle of your floor because rest mattered more than vigilance. They invited you to play because shared joy beats solitary happiness. None of these behaviors serve survival. None of them are necessary. They only appear when a dog moves past contentment into genuine happiness, when their life contains not just safety and food and shelter, but connection, trust, and joy. When your dog does these 7 things daily, they're not just showing you they're happy, they're showing you they've built something rare. If you found yourself recognizing your dog in this list, share this with someone who needs to understand what their dog is really telling them. Subscribe to the channel because every video here is about closing the gap between what we think our dogs are saying and what they're actually communicating. Your dog is trying to show you something profound every single day. The question is whether you're finally ready to see it.